Kuvings wants 700 bucks for the largest hopper on the market, but this Kuvings AUTO10 versus Nama J2 face-off gets even more interesting because inside this bag is something making Kuvings engineers sweat, and they're probably hoping that you never find out about this, because if you do, you might think that spending an extra 150 bucks on the AUTO10 just isn't worth it. In the next 8 minutes, I'm about to show you the key differences between these juicers, the shocking truth about the largest hopper on the market, and which machine gives you the better yield. All right, let's start with the capacity. The Nama J2 hopper has 70 ounces. This lets you make about 2 to 3 cups of juice at one time. Now the Kuvings AUTO10 capacity is 100 ounces, and this lets you batch 3 to 4 cups. And I know what you're thinking, bigger has got to be better, right?
That's what she said.
Well, not exactly, and I'll explain later. Both have a cutout on the top so you can feed produce while the machines run. At the bottom are a set of blades which do the prep work for you. Both hoppers come with a removable lid. The AUTO10 lid has a loose hinge which annoys the heck out of me, and I always forget to remove it when I'm cleaning the AUTO10, so it just falls off. The lid on the Nama J2 used to be the same, but then Nama made some small improvements and made it more sturdy. To open the AUTO10 lid, you just push this tab up, and on the Nama J2, you just pull this trigger. The AUTO10 has a button on the handle which helps you lock and unlock the hopper, which I must say is a nice touch. With the Nama J2, you just twist the hopper on the juicing chamber. Both juicers come with an auger, a strainer, and a set of wipers. The auger on the AUTO10 is more cylindrical and smooth and taller, while the auger on the Nama J2 looks like a golf ball. It has these grooves to help grip produce and squeeze out more juice. We'll find out whether or not this makes a difference later. Both juicers have this mechanism on the pulp ejectors that flip out, so this helps you quickly clean out the pulp. Most of the time the pulp just slides out, but each juicer gives you the option to remove the rubber tabs. And the AUTO10 comes with a sorbet strainer included, while the Nama J2 doesn't. But there's a $50 off discount code in the description below. If you decide to use it, it'll cover the cost of the sorbet strainer and then some. Both juicers have a 15-year warranty on the motor and the parts, but Nama was the first to offer this, and then it just seems like Kuvings kind of copied them to stay competitive. Either way, it's a win-win for both you and me. But I've heard Nama customer service is way better than Kuvings in case you ever have to claim that warranty. I'll call this one a tie. Now remember that mystery bag I showed you earlier? We're getting closer to what's inside, but first, this might intimidate you. If you're anything like me, you want a simple machine that you can easily put together quickly. Otherwise, you probably won't get much use out of it, right? So check out how quickly you can assemble these. For the Nama J2, it took 43 seconds to put together. For the Kuvings AUTO10, it took 30 seconds to put together. At first, assembling these feels intimidating because there's a lot of parts, but after a while, you get used to it. Here's the biggest difference between them. The AUTO10 comes with these red dots, and the Nama J2 gives you these tabs that you just drop in. I found the Nama J2 tab system to be easier on the joints. With the AUTO10, you really gotta crank the parts back and forth so that they lock in. Other than that, assembly is pretty much identical. This one's a tie. Now, everybody loves batch juicing, but there's just one hidden cost no one seems to be talking about. Bigger isn't always better. The AUTO10 is much bulkier, and to accommodate its bigger motor, it weighs 16.5 pounds, while the Nama J2 weighs 12.1 pounds. That's more than a 4-pound weight difference, and you can definitely feel that when you're moving the AUTO10 around. It's like lugging a gym weight at a Planet Fitness, but I know there's some Ralph in the comments section that's gonna say, the AUTO10 lets you juice continuously for up to 60 minutes, and the Nama J2 is only 20 minutes with a 1-minute rest in between. That is a ridiculous reason to get the AUTO10. Let's do some math. If it makes 4 cups of juice in 2 minutes, that means the AUTO10 can technically make 120 cups in 1 hour. Who in their right mind is making 120 cups of juice in 1 hour? Unless you work at a juice bar, that's 1000% overkill, and I'd rather go with the lighter juicer. Point to the J2 here. But if you're thinking, I don't care about the countertop space or portability, cool. You're gonna absolutely love this next part. The Nama has a trick up its sleeve, which nobody saw coming. It's their answer to people who want larger batches of juice, and it's inside this bag. This is the Nama's extended capacity hopper, and it's 105 ounces, making it 5 ounces larger than the AUTO10. Nama lets you create your own journey. They don't just assume that everyone needs a bigger hopper. They purposely make the machine more affordable for everyone, and if you want to upgrade, the choice is yours. The best part is the larger hopper on the Nama J2 is only $95 extra, so the J2 with the bigger hopper is still $55 less than the AUTO10. Whether you want the bigger hopper or you don't, you're gonna save money either way. And if you've got got some light sleepers in your family, don't ignore this next part. I measured the noise on each machine. Your average blender is about 100 decibels loud. Now the Nama J2 averages 60 decibels, but the Kuvings AUTO10 is definitely not as quiet. It hits 76 decibels, and the AUTO10 can make these weird screeching noises. If you've got any light sleepers in your house, like kids or crying babies, they're probably going to scream at you. And I don't think it's a deal breaker, but it's noticeably louder than the J2. And this next part shocked the heck out of me. In terms of yield, I thought one of these juicers was for sure gonna come out on top as the clear winner, but boy was I surprised. To kick things off, we'll use equal amounts of carrots. Each bowl weighs about 14.1 ounces. Now let's load up each of these juicers, flick the switch, and see how they do. Okay, so both machines finished around the same time. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the pulp from each juicer. They're both equally as dry. And now for the moment of truth, how much yield did each of these get? We'll start with the Nama J2. It finished with about 200 milliliters of juice, while the Kuvings AUTO10 finished with about 201 milliliters of juice. Let's whip out a sieve and see how much pulp was left in our cups. We'll start with the Nama J2. Now we'll use the sieve on the AUTO10. Comparing the pulp from each bowl, they look about the same. So far, these are neck and neck with not much difference between them, and I kind of thought that the $700 AUTO10 would starch the Nama J2, but there's one massive problem here. You're not getting the full picture. I get a lot of comments asking about specific ingredients like, how does it do with celery? What about ginger? How dry is the pulp? So I actually spent more than $4,000 and 37 hours testing all the best juicers on the market with celery, ginger, oranges, and leafy greens. And I promise I'm gonna share those exact results with you. But before I reveal them, we gotta talk about something everybody loves to complain about. All right, let me ask you something. Do you like the idea of standing over your kitchen sink with your back hunched, water splashing everywhere while trying to pluck pulp out of your machine? Well, I don't either. So let me get straight to the point and show you the two most annoying parts to clean on each juicer. Both augers have a gap underneath where the pulp gets stuck, and 9 times out of 10, you need to scoop this out with a brush in like a circular motion. And both machines use stainless steel juicing strainers that require special attention. If you don't scrub them well, mineral buildup can block these micro holes and decrease the yield over time. And pulp always gets stuck in this hole. 10 out of 10 times, you're gonna have to pluck it out with a brush tip. Now, the AUTO10 comes with this green cleaning tool, and I kind of like it. Does it make cleaning the machine any faster? Not really. I thought you could scrub it quicker with a regular brush. Now, let's see which one is actually faster to clean. The AUTO10 finished at 2 minutes and 10 seconds, and the Nama J2 finished 6 seconds later. Not much of a difference, so this one's a tie. Now, as promised, I'm about to show you the separate experiment with celery, ginger, oranges, and leafy greens. To start, I measured 6 ounces of celery for each juicer. I loaded both of these up and let them rip. We've got 118 milliliters of celery juice for the Kuvings AUTO10, and for the Nama J2, we were able to squeeze out 131 milliliters of juice. Here's the squeeze test on the AUTO10, and here's the squeeze test on the Nama J2. The yield was higher on the J2, but the pulp was drier for the AUTO10. For ginger, I measured 1.3 ounces, and I dumped the chunks into the top and then let the machines work. So we've got 36 milliliters of ginger juice for the AUTO10, and for the J2, we were able to squeeze out 38 milliliters of juice. Here's the squeeze test on the AUTO10, but on the J2, there was no pulp coming out of the ejector, so I had to inspect the auger. Check out how dry this came out. Both machines are amazing at extracting ginger, but the J2 has a slight edge here. Next up, we got oranges. I measured out 8.5 ounces and loaded up each juicer and let them work. That turned out to be 158 milliliters of juice for the AUTO10, and for the Nama J2, we were able to get 161 milliliters of OJ. Here's the squeeze test on the AUTO10, and here's the squeeze test on the J2. Both were as dry as it gets. For leafy greens, I used 2 ounces. That's about a half bag, and I dumped it into each machine. Leafy greens tend to take longer to process and can be tricky to juice. So we've got about 26 milliliters of green juice with the AUTO10, and for the Nama J2, we've got 35 milliliters of juice. The pulp for the AUTO10 didn't come out of the ejector, so I had to look at the auger and it looked pretty wet. Here's the squeeze test on the J2. The J2 looks like it was more dry on this one. Here's the final scorecard for both machines. The AUTO10 is a beast when it comes to celery, but the Nama J2 starches the AUTO10 in every other category, so the J2 gets a W here. Now, ever hear that cliche, you get what you pay for? I thought the AUTO10's massive hopper was going to be worth it. I thought spending an extra 150 bucks would give me a better juice yield, and turns out none of that was true. The truth is the Nama gives you more bang for your buck, and I think you'd be happy with either machine, but me personally, I'd get the J2. It's $150 less, and if you want a bigger hopper, it's still $55 cheaper, making it a better value. No matter which one you choose, I've got links to the best discounts in the description below, but don't wait because these two juicers are selling like crazy.